Good afternoon, everyone. We just 4 minutes before we're going to start soon at 6:15. We're going to start our live in English for the Gospel according to Spiritism, or the talk that we have for our Positive and Spirit Center. So it's still 4 minutes, so it gives time for everyone to join us in this live. Hopefully anyone that is able to join, or you can join us later, watching this video later. Hopefully can be helpful for someone. My name is Tarso dos Santos, so we're going to be starting soon. Hopefully I can see if any messages pop up, because in case anyone wants to communicate. Another thing is the voice okay? That would be interesting to know if my voice is okay. Maybe I'll switch to my hello. If anyone that's already joined us, can you hear us okay? Hopefully. I switched to my Bluetooth. Hopefully it is okay. Oh, thank you, Leila. Oh, you saved me. Yes, so you can hear me okay? Thank you. Please let me know if there's any problems with the sound, and please let me know if you have any questions. Maybe it could be kind of interactive if you write anything, questions, topics that through the middle that maybe could be discussed. I know it's a little bit awkward because it's just one-way communication. And welcome, Leila. Well, oh, okay. Thank you, Leila. With a bit of delay, but coming through fine. Yes, there's a little bit delay with the Facebook. I think it's around 5-6 seconds or more in delay. And we're going to talk about power of faith. And okay, sorry people. I think I have fixed my wireless, so I should be back. And let me know if the connection now is better. I know Steph mentioned that there was a little bit of delay and cutting. So let me know if it is okay now. And I had just a disruption a little bit before. I'll wait for okay, if it's possible from anyone. Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Steph saved here. Thank you. So my name is Tarso dos Santos from Paul Stevens Spirit Center with our English talk. And we're going to talk about power of faith. So we're going to start with a prayer before we go ahead. Feel comfortable to close your eyes or keep your eyes open. And we're going to elevate our thoughts to guardian angels, to our mentors, and thank you them and the Paul Stevens Spirit Center mentor guides that we can communicate. Today we can do this a spirit talk today, and we're able to maybe learn some things with the thoughts of the Spiritism and Jesus that is always in our life. We thank our mentor from Australia and our Mother Mary and Jesus for always protecting us in our life. Thank you. So today, the talk is power of faith. And the aim is really talk about some aspects of faith, power of faith, but importantly, understanding what's the Spiritism point of view, the Spiritism point of view. When we mention faith, straight away we think about religious faith. That means it's normal because when we talk about religion and we talk about beliefs, we talk about faith, right? So however but what we really want to talk today is not about religious faith. It's about natural faith, a natural faith. We were going to talk about religious faith, but how do we switch from religious faith to become a natural faith? So, as we know, just setting the basis, religious faith is the one that we describe and for specific religions and that we believe in some ideas that religions bring to us and can show it can be any religion, it can be Spiritism or or Catholics or Mormons, it can be anyone, right? So that's it. So, but there is always two aspects of that: the religious faith. Apologies. It's about being a blind faith or a logical faith. So we wanted to highlight that Spiritism really does not support blind faith, and therefore Spiritism is based on a logical faith. Because the blind faith, it doesn't examine anything. It just goes against, it doesn't verify. It's always being used a little bit of a manipulation through all our times. And it causes issues. We see that blind faith is a kind of the reason why people really get into disbelief in religion and goes against some very basic principles of human, be able to be reasonable, of human traits, reason, as well as free will. Okay, which are very important. So it goes against us. So even Kardec, we're looking at Kardec's principles that he brought to us with the work. So we're looking at the Genesis that he wrote, as well as the Gospel According to Spiritism and the Spiritist book. You can find online by just searching those books. And Kardec interestingly says, that is in 1850s when the book was written, the Spiritist book. Blind faith is no longer appropriate for this century. Back then. Wow. And we're still going through this process. But it's not appropriate for us, but it's still happening, I guess. It's precisely the dogma of blind faith that produces these beliefs nowadays. So, some examples that we see in general in religion. like buying a piece of land in heaven with money, confessing and trying and thinking that we're going to free up our sins, eternity of hell, and this could be a lot of illogical things that Spiritism do not have different ideas, right? So what's the Spiritism focus in terms of faith is about the spiritual intimate reform. It's about reincarnation, spirits communication, how they apply in our lives, apply some logical and rational analysis and faith into these subjects that apply to our lives. However, I want to apply that even those subjects that Spiritism, we're looking at trying to go through across a logical faith, they can still be just a religious faith. So what does that mean? Those topics that we talk about Spiritism is still just being religious faith. What is the difference? So we talk about the difference between being a religious faith to a natural faith. So as our noble Emmanuel he was the mentor for amazing medium Chico Xavier. They wrote hundreds and hundreds of books for Spiritism in Brazil. He writes, having faith is not just ability to say I believe, but to say I know. Empowered by reason and enlightened by our sentiments. So we see that natural faith goes a step further than religious belief. Because religious belief is about believing, but natural faith, it's about actually knowing it is part of your path. There's no doubt, there's robustness, there's total confidence, there's no single point of doubt or small questioning in you that the thing you're doing is not going to work, or the thing you believe maybe is possible not believe. It's just straight truth, and that's it. There's no other question. So that's a natural faith, and we see that, and that we see this in our lives. So in our lives, we use this natural faith because when we walk into a bus, we know we're going to come out that bus alive. Otherwise, we wouldn't go into that bus. We know we're going to be alive next day. We have this natural faith that we cool with our lives in certain things that we do. Another example, if you go into under surgery in a procedure and you ask your doctor that you kind of have a lot of trust on him, says, hey, are you okay? Are you sure this is going to work? And he's going to say, I believe it. Everything's going to be fine. And you kind of feel good, but you're still nervous. But if you would reply to you like that, Tarso, in my case, don't worry, I know it's going to be fine. And that's a different impact. You're going to say, wow, he knows what he's doing. He's doing, you know what he knows that he's doing, but it just gives that. So it's a different approach. So in this small example, and that is embedded in our day-by-day events in our lives, and how we confront with these issues in our lives, what happens in our lives, is exactly about this. Do we have this religious faith, or do we have a natural faith when we confront problems in our lives? So therefore, and we start looking at all the works of Spiritism because looking at Spiritism beliefs, it helps us of different problems that we are confronting in our lives, when we're losing someone, going through a health issue, or different topics. And the Spiritist works, when you start reading and learning about life after death, the Spiritism concepts, reincarnation, it just gives that self-confidence. But how do we transform this from a religious faith to a natural faith? And just based on the Spiritism beliefs and how Kardec, when wrote all the books, through collecting all the mediums' statements, and he inquiring the mediums by asking questions, asking the spirits questions and answers, and being kind of saying, are you sure? Can you please go on and explain again? Okay, if there's God, why he doesn't give us any proof. Those kind of questions that he was really thoroughly, as a scientist, as a professor from that time, he was very thorough. So to give Spiritism a logical and rational faith. So first, we have to be logical and rational about everything, and emotional as well. Not just logical and rational, but also emotional. So as Emmanuel says, these are the two aspects that we confront, we have faith in our life. So I actually advise you go and look and read the Genesis according to Spiritism that talks about God, specifically how do we live in God. And he goes for a very logical analysis. So continue on. And through miracles, we talk about faith. We see through our times that faith and the miracles that people describe to us happen based on the faith. How do they happen? Are they miracles, or are they just maybe universal laws? So Spiritism goes through a very logical debate about and understanding the miracles are all under natural laws that maybe science hasn't been able to describe yet, I would say. But from a Spiritist, which has its own science of analyzing, doing some analysis on the outcomes to find out the reason, the source. That's what science does anyway. We have our science perspectives from a philosophical, scientific as well, and religious point of view. So it gives ability to, so this faith that we're talking about, the natural faith, it gives the ability to drive this force that's inside us and achieve amazing things. Sometimes some unnatural things. By the word, everything's a natural law, but from our understanding, it may look like unnatural things, not common. So there's a power inside us that we really do not comprehend, and we do not know we have such a power. And we see a lot of amazing people out there, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, Chico Xavier, and other amazing people that have shown this faith, have be able to help Gandhi, have done extraordinary things by showing, maybe what did they show? They show this faith, they show maybe some magnetism that would just convince people and show, maybe they were showing the truth. Because truth comes with faith, natural faith. The natural faith comes with truth. And they're able to show, because faith is the mother of love. And that comes love, and these people have shown love and brought people with them and showed the truth. And we see the miracles that have been described in the Bible of Jesus. How did it all happen? So was that really truth, or was just passage? One of the passages was a woman touched Jesus in the middle of among us, hundreds of people, and then he felt an energy coming out of him. That's described in the Bible. Also in the Gospel according to Spiritism. And then some energy came off him, and he said, who touched me? And he was looking for who touched me, and he knew that energy came out of him. And then the lady, she comes, I did it. And he said, your faith actually cured you, has healed you. We're looking at a power of faith. Wasn't not Jesus' faith, was the women's faith that helped her seeking for an answer, seeking for healing and believing. So these are the extraordinary acts of Jesus in that case, that the Spiritism look from a scientific point of view. Is that possible? Is that an energy that we're talking about here from natural faith, this energy that's inside of us that help us to go through amazing situations and then do amazing things? And Spiritism talks about this energy being equivalent to that energy that came out from Jesus, that we are learning one day, perhaps we're able to do it, is to exchange this love, exchange this energy, but it needs this natural faith that we can be helped. So there's a thing here that you need to be wanted to be helped and believe and have this 100% belief that you need to be helped. So it's a whole process in us. Sorry, I talked too much about this topic, but let's move ahead. So it's amazing, and you start thinking, so how can we change the way, again, transforming from religious faith to a natural faith? And we see this force, this natural faith that comes from us, and it affects our well-being. Just talk about ourselves and how our faith affects our well-being. And it's amazing when we start searching the internet how these concepts are already accepted between the professionals from a psychological point of view or from physical body point of view. They already accept. There's hundreds of papers there. There's one specific one that started with Dr. Shire and Kava, and you can find that under the theatlantic.com website. There's a good talk there that he actually was interviewed. It was a paper he wrote in 1985. If you look for positive thinking and the Atlantic, you find this interview with him in relation to the document in 1985, the research in 1985 he's done that analyzing the power of positive thinking in your health, and it was widely accepted. Some people didn't accept, some scientists didn't accept it, but hundreds and thousands of people accepted and start using that research in their works. So nowadays, since 1985, and he states that I think it's now just safe to say that optimism is clearly associated with better psychological health, as seen through lower levels of depressed mood, anxiety, and general distress when facing difficult life circumstances, including situations involving recovery from illness and disease. Now, this is 2019, I think, when he wrote that. He was interviewed after hundreds of researches that have been done based on his research. And for me, and the reason we talk about positive thinking is you can't have faith without positive thinking, right? So it's positive it's a natural thing. And we know that we're not positive, things, they get darker, things are not, you feel unhappy. So, if you're happy, you feel better. So it's a natural thing that was hard to be proven by in terms of a research. So it was finally done. So our mood, our positive thinking is good for our health. So the power of faith is good for our health. And a bad mood, your bad mood is going to just cause more issues for our health. And he goes further, which I find very interesting and some common. He describes, we also know why optimists, people who have faith, right, do better than pessimists people. The answer lies in the differences between the coping strategies they use. Optimists are not simply being Pollyannas, believing everything is going to be fine without having reason. They are problem solvers who try to improve the situation. And if it can't be altered, they're also more likely than pessimists to accept the reality and move on. Right? It's about acceptance and then find alternatives. Physically, they are more likely to engage in behaviors that help protect against disease and promote recovery from illness. They are less likely to smoke, drink, and have poor diets, and more likely to exercise, sleep well, and adhere to rehab programs. Pessimists, on the other hand, tend to deny, avoid, and distort the problems they confront and dwell on their negative feelings. It's easy to see now why pessimists don't do so well compared to optimists. Are you a positive person? I ask myself, I'm a positive person. Maybe I'll throw a 50-50, maybe a little bit more, doing some self-analysis. But ask yourself if you're a positive person. And then we start analyzing, how do we confront our day-by-day issues And are we really positive? We don't have to be Pollyannas, as they say. But is this power, the power of natural faith is understanding the problem, accepting the problem, but not just accepting and being stagnated. It means, I'll ask God to give him a solution. That's not about it's about, and the positive person it goes and finds solutions, and fight for happiness and to feel well. So hopefully we can transform this religious faith in this natural faith by doing these things naturally. And so logical, right? So can we grow this faith? How do we grow it? I guess it's about not watching Netflix. I guess we can watch Netflix for good things, but maybe not watching Netflix on those series about the end of the world. I don't think that's going to help for positiveness for us. We have enough things to deal with reality. So it's about watching positive programs, it's about reading positive books, because you can't you can't give someone or prescribe someone to have faith. Unfortunately, it's either born with us, and we all have this seed inside of us with this faith that we can develop, right? And we build this faith through experiences that we have today, experience that we had in our past lives, that carved and forged and our spirit with strength by going through some difficulties. Unfortunately, faith is built on top of difficulties, because you know that things can get better. So sometimes we have a tendency to hide ourselves from situations, because not exposing ourselves that maybe we should expose and confront those issues. But those issues will help us to grow. And we know if we don't confront those issues, we're going to be unhappy anyway at the end. That it could be general issues. But we know that if we expose ourselves in our relationships, whatever they are, that this is going to build strength on us. So these events do help in our life, and I believe it does give us strength. And believe, we don't have control everything. Having faith, it doesn't mean you're going to have control everything. And that's part, everyone knows is part of our life. And these valuable experiences will bring us this amazing things in our life. So as we discussed. And I do believe that when we start looking at can faith cure, can faith bring benefits in our health? Yes, they can. But it'll be a personal thing. And when you start looking at science and religion, can science and religion work side by side in terms of faith? I believe it can. There's a lot of papers that says it cannot. But we talk about natural faith, right? And Einstein had a lot of natural faith. And by the way, all the greatest discoveries in the past, came from people that were religious as well as scientists. So, and all the scientists are just human beings. And when you have something that you're looking for in a research to discover, you start with a natural faith that he will be able to write a theory and find a solution before you can prove. So it's part of science. So it's part of us being this natural faith. So all this experience that we bring from past lives is based on our faith. It is our evolution. So it's our development that we are experiencing today, and it brings us and gives us courage to confront and solve our problems today. So it's 6:41. I'll run a little bit shorter. 6:41. We have 3 minutes for finalizing. Hopefully that can be helpful. And this talk about natural faith, we can transform these beliefs, these religious faiths, good ones, the logical ones, but transform them in natural faith in our lives. Thank you all. and I will move now so we can kind of finalize the talk. Thanking you for those who participating, thanking you for those who are watching this lecture, and thank our guardian angels, our mentors. They always are watching for us, and our mentors of the Spirit, the Paul Stevens Spirit Center. They're protecting us. They're connecting us everywhere through the web. So we thank our Jesus, our master, of governor of our planet, that can help us through pass through all those problems. When you lose someone, we have that faith, because when you have faith, there is life after death, there's reincarnation, that there is a parallel spiritual world, that people will be fine. Even if you have the feeling that you lose someone, you have that comfort on your heart that the person will be fine on the other side, the spiritual world. Their mentors are gonna help them on the other side, and they are perhaps better than us on the other side. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Bye.